Broadcasting live from the Cliffside Market on the plain of Mercadia, this is Tap Tap Concede.
Get your brainstorms here, brainstorms. Everybody a winner.
We're back to the plains now, because we're now out of... I'm pretty sure that's we've already used every non-basic land in Theros block.
Yep.
We've used all 10 temples, and Unknown Shores, and Nykthos twice, I think, and the Mana Confluence. Is there any other non-basics
I don't think so.
in Theros?
I think that was it.
Welp.
Broadcasting from an Opaline Unicorn. This is Tap Tap Concede.
Wait, what?
That's creepy.
I don't know.
You
No.
get sweet reception off that horn, eh?
All three of us are on the back of a unicorn. Go, Charlie, run. Hey, everybody, it's Tap Tap Concede. I'm Graham.
I'm James.
I'm Alex.
He's not quite sure about it.
Oh, wow.
I'm Alex.
That was some coffee yesterday. There were unforeseen consequences.
Last night, Alex drank the coffee that will end the world.
So you're listening to this in a charred dugout.
In a Doctor Who style gravel pit.
Yes, with the sound coming out of a rat. So anyway,
The rat gets good reception, just
Yep.
like the unicorn. Anyway, we're here to crack a pack like we do, and then talk about some various magic stuff relating to Journey into Nyx.
murder curds.
We've got some stuff to talk about, and we've asked you for some questions relating to
Murds.
Journey into Nyx, and so let's do it. We've got 9 packs.
9
currently.
packs now with a D10.
Get it?
Get it?
3.
You fool!
No!
Why did you put Homelands anywhere other than 1?
Monster.
I was like, that's weird. James didn't put Homelands on the top like we usually have it.
I was just shuffling them around.
Dude.
That didn't count. It was 3. This means we need to
Chunkus.
open this one.
Which one is that?
You're just bummed because we
Homelands.
opened Future Sight while you weren't here.
No, I'm just bummed because
You're bummed because you opened
Homelands. I don't care that you opened Future Sight without me here. I'm home.
Why do we do this to
I
ourselves?
don't know.
Because of cards like Clockwork Steed.
It's probably the best card in the pack.
Probably. It's got a bajillion lines of text.
Oh, God.
That means it's good.
It's a 0/3 artifact creature for 4.
All right.
It cannot be blocked by artifact creatures.
So, like, pseudo-fear?
When Clockwork Steed comes into play, put 4+1/+0 counters on it.
Sweet. So it's a 4/3.
At the end of any combat in which Clockwork Steed attacked or blocked, remove one of these counters.
Okay.
Nice.
For X and tap, put X +1/+0 counters on Clockwork Steed. You may have no more than 4 of these counters on Clockwork Steed.
The worst.
Use this ability only during your upkeep.
Oh, my God. No, it's so bad.
Next.
It's like it's like they carefully wrung out any way this card could be not awful.
If it, like the upkeep clause is really bad.
You can't even block with this guy, then EOT pump him.
Like, what's your
and
best
attack
case
with
scenario? You have a 4/3.
Your best case
So you
scenario.
attack with a 4/3, then it's a 3/3. And
I
then
think-
attack with a 3/3. Like, you don't want to be attacking with it as a 2/3, do you? Maybe? Not a
I
1/3.
think your best case scenario is you use this to shim your TV.
All right. What's a weird creature? Hungry Mist.
Okay.
Oh, this has a sweet and kind of gruesome picture.
It does. It's a 6/2 for 2 green.
6/2 for
That's
4.
That
Okay.
doesn't actually seem so bad.
During your upkeep, pay green or bury Hungry Mist.
Oh God, it just got so much worse.
Wow.
It's that one.
Yeah. Is there multiple arts?
No, it's the one on your screen. There you go. That's the
that's
one.
the one. Like,
That's like if it was just a 6/2 for 4 without the upkeep, it'd
that'd
be
be kind of cool.
okay. I mean, it trades so
Or even
poorly
like a
with things.
5/1.
Like this 2-drop or 4-drop trades for most 2-drops. So
Also, big teeth, small butt seems really kind of out of flavor for green.
green, yeah.
It's much more of a red
Well,
creature.
sometimes.
Speaking of red creatures, something else for my Minotaur commander deck.
Ooh.
The Anaba Shaman.
Didn't we open one of these guys already?
No, it was a different one. I mean, it was still bad, but... So it's a 2/2 for 3 and a red. It's not good, but hey, for a red and tap, it's a pinger. Deals 1 damage to target creature or player.
I mean,
That reminds me of something else I want
It's
to
not
talk
the
about today,
worst.
actually.
Can I see
Remind
if
me
I
to
can?
tell you about a Shadowmoor draft I did on Magic Online.
like, sure.
Yeah, like it's bad, but it's not like
The
miserable.
worst, yeah.
it at least has a useful effect.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, there's on Gatherer, there are 2 versions of this card,
Uh-huh.
but the only difference is the flavor text, not the picture.
That's weird.
Your picture is reversed.
We have a different picture than you do, though.
Oh,
So I
weird.
think there's just a
No,
gather error.
It's the same picture. It's just flipped.
That is really
Isn't it?
It
It's
is.
not exactly the same picture. The lightning bolts are different.
weird.
Very strange. Paul's now investigating the mystery of the differently arted Anaba shaman.
And there's a 9th edition one too.
There's one from 9th edition, apparently.
Oh, good. You could have that in white border.
That's still not the one we're looking at.
Yeah, but that's... Yeah, there we go.
That's the
Oh,
one we
weird.
have.
They printed
They look almost identical.
what?
Very strange.
And they have different flavor text too.
Yeah, usually
Yeah.
when they did... This is back when they did different art for the commons.
Yeah.
Because the idea was... So they made this decision that, like, the commons, there would be multiple pieces of art because... You know, this is just an Anaba shaman, and you could have more than one, and they would look different. Before they sort of realized that the art is a very, very important shorthand for telling cards apart. And so now they only do one piece of art per card. Next up, we have the Samite Alchemist. Hey, what's worse than a 2/2 for 4?
A 1/1 for 4.
How about an 0/2 for 4?
Yeah. No, that seems okay. What does it do?
For white, and tap, prevent up to 4 damage
Nope.
to a creature you control.
Yep. Nope.
Tap that creature.
What?
The creature does not untap during your next untap phase.
How? It's like they just keep making it worse. It's like, okay, this is a bad ability. It got worse. No, it got worse again. Oh, really?
I expected to see, like, activate it only as a sorcery or something
Oh my
stupid,
God.
even though that would never work.
That's just not good.
Oh, no. Our unicorn's not going to be getting very good reception anymore
Oh, what's that?
because we got Feast of the Unicorn.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
3 and a black for a creature enchantment. Target creature gets, or the enchanted creature gets +4/+0.
Right.
I assume because he ate a unicorn and now has the...
Yeah, he has their power.
Superpowers.
It looks like he actually just has the horn.
Well, I mean,
Looking at the art,
Plus-
he's like, I have this...
+3 from the unicorn and +1 now that he has a shiv.
No, like it's an orc with a full stomach and a shiv.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
All right, no, I buy that
yeah.
flavor. I buy that.
Yeah.
Shrinky Dink.
Excuse me?
Well, the card's actually just called Shrink. It is a single green. This is a very blue flavored card now. It's a single green for target creature gets -5/-0 until end of turn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely blue.
Yeah.
It's not the
It's
worst.
not the worst.
Beast Walkers. Da 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 da. Buy the action figure. Beast Walkers. Sorry, they're called Beast Walkers. 1 white for a 2/2, and for a green they gain banding until end of turn.
Ugh.
Oh, banding. Banding.
Oh no, and this terrible one again.
Ruh-roh.
Oh wait, what's up, Paul?
The Beastwalkers is your rare, by the way.
Yay!
That's the
Hey, we
Got
did
there.
Banding, so strong.
They're so efficient. The 2/2 for 3. It's
Interestingly enough, this has larger gatherer text than the text on the card, which is rather unusual because they have to describe what banding is.
Oh, they
'cause
have the
nobody
reminder
remembers.
text for banding.
Yeah.
The flavor text on the Beast Walkers is, the Beast Walkers do a great service to Ison. As humans or as beasts, their heart is yet to Sarah true.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
And Evaporate, which we had in our last pack of Homelands. It is 2 and a red for a sorcery that deals 1 damage to each blue creature and white creature.
Okay.
So that actually reminds me, before we get into
No
Journey
blue
to
cards
Next-
in this pack.
Yeah.
No, weird.
I mean,
there's
there's
only
only
8
eight
of them.
cards. Yeah, exactly.
Before we get into talking about Journey to Next, I want to talk briefly about Shadowmoor, because they had Shadowmoor drafts online, and that reminds me of a very good card from Shadowmoor Limited, which was Embergale, which is 3 and a red. Creatures target opponent controls cannot block this turn, and deal 1 damage to each blue or white creature they control, which can be a bit of a wrath in Shadowmoor. So I was
pretty strong.
Yeah, I was up against like a absolutely bonkers red aggro deck, and I had a primarily red deck myself. like I had almost mono red as well, and they had the Riverfall Mimic. So the mimics were a cycle from Eventide that they were dual colored creatures that were okay, like they were fine on the vanilla test. And the Riverfall Mimic is no, wrong mimic. The it's not the
Night Sky?
wait, is that the blue red one? Oh, it is the blue red one. Sorry, I couldn't quite see it from here. So yes, so the Riverfall Mimic. So it's a 2/1 for 2. So it's a piker, which is like, all right, fine. But if you cast a blue and red spell, it has to be blue and red, then it becomes a 3/3 unblockable until end of turn. And this guy had like 4 of them.
Wah, wah.
So he was like Riverfall Mimic, hit you for 3. Riverfall Mimic, hit you for 3. And then I was like,
more like 8.
Embergale, 4 for 1 you.
Oh boy!
Because naturally on their own turn, on my turn, they're 2/1s.
Yeah.
And so I got 3 Riverfall Mimics and a 4th white or blue creature. I can't like a Noggle something.
Yeah. Noggles.
Nothing like Noggle
Noggle
Ransacker
tribal.
or something. And it was pretty disgusting. But so my deck, so there's a card that I love from Shadowmoor called the Cinder Pyromancer. So
Is this a fixing guy?
no, so it's a 0/1 for 2 and a red.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
right.
it taps to deal 1 damage to target player, but only hits players. But whenever you cast a red spell, you can untap it.
Mm-hmm.
No one was taking them.
Womp womp.
I had 5. Maybe it's not a good idea to run 5 of a card that doesn't really do much by itself. But I was like, you know what? It's like midnight and it's a Swiss, and let's do it.
Just pyromancer them out.
I ended up going 2-1 overall, but there was a turn where I had 2. I only had 2 of the Cinder Pyromancers out, but I did have a Flame Jab in my graveyard.
Nice.
Now, Flame Jab is a single red mana to do 1 damage to target creature or player, but it has Retrace, which is that if you pay its casting cost to gain and discard a land, you can cast it from your graveyard, and you can do that as many times as you want. So I had held on to land for a couple turns, and what happened was I untap. My opponent is sitting on 11 life, and I look at what I have, and I'm like, wait a minute here, and I do some quick mental math, and I tap the Pyromancers,
Ruh-roh.
retrace Flame Jab
Whoa.
to his dome. That's 3 damage. Casting Flame Jab untaps the Pyromancers.
Yep.
Tap, Flame Jab again.
Mm-hmm.
That's now 6 damage.
6 damage.
Retrace again. I did 11 damage is basically the end of the
That's-
story.
Nice.
Because I was
Wow.
able to untap my Pyromancers 3 times by retracing Flame Jab 3 times. And it was really gross.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah, mono red in Shadowmoor, if you can get multiple Cinder Pyromancers, can be super
Yeah,
gross.
it turns out a lot of pingers that you're able to untap are quite powerful. It's like Goblin Sharpshooter is like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh. Well,
Is that anytime you cast a Goblin spell?
No, it's anytime a creature dies,
Interesting.
he untaps. So if they have a board of 1/1s, he just machine guns them all. And now imagine if you have that guy, a whole ton of goblins that just swung, and a sack outlet like Skirk Prospector. And it's just like, well, now I kill you by sacking all my goblins and getting all these untapped triggers and just shooting you.
Gross.
Same with like Gelectrode, which is 1 red blue.
That's
for
from
an 0/1?
original Ravnica block?
Yeah, it's from Dissension? Maybe?
I think it is, because that's the one with Is It?
Yeah, he's a 0/1 that taps to ping a creature or player, and anytime you cast an instant or sorcery, untap him. Yeah, that guy's sweet.
That's not so bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the reason the Cinder Pyromancer is so good in this thing is because Shadowmoor really rewards you for playing like monocolored if you can, because there's so many split color cards.
Yeah.
You can actually have cards of all 4 colors in your deck and technically only be monocolor.
Yeah.
Which, let me tell you, that really confuses the heck out of the Magic Online land suggestion.
Oh no!
When you're like, what land should I have? And
Well, mono green.
and it's like, Well, you want 2 plains, a swamp, 3 islands, 4 forests, and 7 mountains. And I didn't count if that's accurate or anything, but you're like, no, I actually just want 17 mountains, maybe even 16, depending on your curve. Who knows? But yeah. Anyway, the point is, I had a lot of fun with that particular draft.
Sweet.
The flame jab turn was the big one.
That's pretty sweet.
But now the flashback drafts have gone away because it is pre-release time on Magic Online.
Hooray!
Hopefully playing some this weekend, though I don't know when, because Lurkon.
Well, you can actually just you could just actually draft at Lurkon.
That's true. Exactly. Be doing actual drafts at Lurkon.
Yeah, a bunch of people are talking about bringing draft sets. And like
sweet.
a large number of draft sets.
Well, there's also going to be like
I think we have some draft sets, won't we?
People running tournaments and
You
stuff
guys are
like
going to
that.
be drafting until the cards are spilling out of your eyes.
I hope so. I don't know when the hotel is actually going to kick us out of the room there, but
Yeah.
I
No magic
plan on
cards
being
allowed.
there until they do.
Yep.
So, yeah, Journey to Nyx. So right after we recorded last week's Tap Concede, like right afterwards.
Literally right after
You
I went
just down to YJ.
down to YJ.
And-
Waited an hour and then drafted,
Oh,
so
no.
that was fun. But yeah, so I've managed to get 1 draft in so far. Okay, so if you recall last week, I talked about my experience at the pre-release where I picked green, and I had not the greatest time, but it was still a fun deck, and I enjoyed it.
Was it on
and
the-
overall, it was a pretty good day.
Was it on the podcast or immediately afterwards where you said, all right, I'm going to go force mono green?
It was probably on the podcast
All right.
where I said I was going to go force mono green. And sure enough, I sit down at the table and I crack my pack of Journey, and there's a Hero's Bane as the rare. And there really wasn't much of anything else. And as you also might know, Hero's Bane was the green promo card from the free release. So I was like, okay. And this was a card that, of many of the cards that I played with at the pre-release, I wasn't actually super excited about. It's fun. It can get big, but if your opponent has a 1/1, it's just a creature that they can block, right?
How much is the Hero's Bane cost?
It costs
it's 2 green to
two,
double the number.
Yeah, it's 3 green to cast for a 4/4, and then 2 green to double the amount of counters that are on it. So it comes down as a 4/4, and then you double it to an 8/8, and then it becomes a 16/16, 32/32, 64/64.
Mark Rosewater was actually talking about this in his sort of story of the cards column, that this was actually going to be the mechanic for the set. This
really?
This was going to be a new mechanic. They were going to call it Enhance.
Ooh.
And
I kind of like that. That's funny.
yeah, and it was going to do Hero's Bane Enhance.
Yeah.
But it was going to do this sort of thing with the double encounters. And after playing with it a lot, they were like, we can't make this not be busted.
Yeah.
And so then they killed the mechanic. They came up with Constellation instead, worked that up, and the Constellation worked much, much better, and so they picked that as the mechanic. But they really like this guy, and they were like, well,
We could still
this
make
guy's good.
Yeah, we could still make
We
the
can
one
still-
guy.
We won't call it Enhance. We'll just give him that ability, and this
Yeah.
guy's sweet.
So I first pick him because I was like, okay, whatever. So let's first pick him, and then I pick up my next pack, and it has, and I can't remember. I'm not good with the card names yet. It's the 5/5 that when Constellation triggers, your whole team gets trample.
Humbler of Mortals.
Thank you.
Or isn't it just one creature gets trample? You texted me a picture.
That's true. I did.
Yeah, Humbler of Mortals.
Yeah. Is it one
I believe it's just one creature gets trample.
No,
it's
it's creatures.
you control.
Yeah.
That is filthy.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so I guess we're actually going to do this mono green thing then. So the rest of the pack came and went. I picked up a couple other like dirty little creatures. I got the other Constellation card that gives something a +1/+1 counter when an enchantment comes into play, or when it just itself comes into play, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people remember that. That's a big one.
The Constellation
it
triggers
triggers
themselves.
this. Yeah, the creature triggers itself when it comes into play. Remember that, because it was forgotten at the table a few times, and we were like, no, it works on itself. And they were like, oh my god, that makes this card so much cooler. I'm like, yes, yes, it does. So I started with those two, and then the rest of the pack was okay. And then we got to Born of the Gods, and at this point I was basically mono green, although I'd picked up a couple red cards. So it was kind of looking like I was red-green again, which again was exactly what I played at the pre-release. I ended up getting out of the second pack with 2 aspect of the Hydras.
Which you also texted me about.
Yeah, because I thought that was hilarious.
Yep.
I got out of that pack with what else did I get from that? What else did I get from Born?
Did you get a Fanatic?
I didn't get a Fanatic. I got a couple Centaurs. Just a couple just vanilla kind of creatures that didn't do much, but just more beef. And then I ended up with 2 Nylea's Disciples. I ended up with an Arbor Colossus, which I think I got second or third in the Theros pack, which was just like, all right, well, that seals the deal. I'm pretty much green at this point. And it was, I mean, it ended up as a red-green deck. It ended up as a better version of the deck I was playing at the pre-release. I had more fun with it. I ended up going 2 and 3. I ended up being able
5-round draft.
Not 2 and 3, 2 and 1.
I was like,
that's how I did it the pre-release. Not
Yeah.
I ended up going 2 and 1. I ended up, casting. It's always awesome when you can cast Arbor Colossus on turn 5.
Oh, so
and
filthy.
it's just like so ridiculous.
Colossus.
I got the 6/6 for 4. Who, when you're dealt combat damage, you have to sacrifice them. That card,
Swarmborn giant.
yeah, that card is it's okay. Like, if you can protect yourself and give this guy and monstrous this guy to give him reach to give you that extra little bit of protection, this guy is like basically insane. Because you're getting a 6/6 for 4, and it monstrosities for 3.
Mm-hmm. No, for 6.
No, but it's monstrosity of 3.
Yeah.
So you end up with this
2.
So you end up with this 8/8 reach guy, and who's going to get through that sort of thing. It was fun though. I ended up 2 and 1. I opened a Master of Waves in the Theros pack, so I ended up just
Not so bad.
I just ended up taking that. Value wise, it was like, it's worth some money,
Take
so
the
I'm
money.
gonna take it. The matches were fun. I went up against a super aggressive white-red deck in the first round and lost. And I lost to a guy who was double queuing events. He was playing in the standard and in the draft.
What?
And he was playing in the draft because we really needed an 8th to fire the event. And he's like, I can do it. And we're like, okay, sure. So he jumped in, he drafted with us. We started playing, and he managed to not only beat me in the first round, but beat me with probably about half a minute before he was basically going to be disqualified from the round that he was in for the standard event. So he managed to jump to that, win that event in enough time to get back for the second game in the draft.
What a dick.
And then I think managed to, I don't know if he won that round, but yeah, it was interesting.
That's
but
funny.
So I wasn't able to do much against the red-white just super fast deck. It was just a pain. And then in the second round, I went up against this weird like 3-color trying to do way too many things deck.
Is your sample size of a single draft, or rather, respecting your sample size of a single draft, is it better to start with the pack of Journey into Nyx, or is it better than the misery of looking through the Born of the Gods?
Yes. Well, okay. So it's better because it's new. I don't know if it's better because it's actually better yet. I definitely need to draft more. I do feel like the power level of Journey is higher than Born of the Gods, and I think that's universally agreed upon.
Because it got to the point pretty quickly, like almost immediately in BTT draft, that you'd look at your pack of Born of the Gods and go, well, the one good card has been taken, and the rest of these are all mediocre.
Just super mediocre.
They're all fine. I would play them.
Yeah,
but nothing is pulling me in any given direction.
And to be honest, I didn't feel like I was still most excited to open that pack of Theros in that draft. Just in terms of cards for my deck. In terms of this set's brand new, I am excited to see all these cards and pick some new cards. I was excited for Journey, but Theros is still where like the incredible amount of power is. So Yeah.
I guess we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, and as I say, we'll be drafting a bunch.
Oh yeah.
This weekend.
They have 9-4 drafts on for pre-release.
Yeah.
Which is a little weird.
Yeah, I saw that. Kind of interesting.
Alex, you talked before about some cards that you were excited about putting in your Highlander deck. Have you had a chance to actually play with them yet?
Yep, a little bit. So the cards I was gonna windmill slam into my deck were Gnarled Scarhide, which is the 2/1 that can't block that bestows their 3 and a black.
Which we mentioned in Friday nights, and I put in there mostly just as
because its name
sort
is
of like
awesome.
It's a joke.
Well, I mean, mostly as a joke, but sort of inspired by real life because I knew you did have this mono black aggro Highlander
that does
deck,
play every single piker, but not the bad ones.
but not the bad ones. But
like I play some slightly sketchy
yeah,
pikers.
you don't
but
actually play Accursed Centaur.
No, that guy's completely unplayable.
Yeah, this is, by the way, Accursed Centaur is not from this set. It's from like Onslaught, and it's a 2/2 for a single black. But when it enters the battlefield, you have to sacrifice a creature.
Yeah,
so it doesn't work as a turn 1 play. So you actually did put Scarhide in the deck.
Yes, I actually think the worst 2x for 1 that I play is Tormented Hero because I have nothing to trigger heroic off of, like nothing.
Well, so he's
one time I almost killed
he's just a
someone.
2/1 for 1.
He's just a piker for 1
that comes into
fine.
play tapped.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever.
No, you still play him,
he's
but it's
still
just
good.
like one time I almost killed somebody by targeting with removal, but they countered it, so I got sad. So anyway, Scarhide, he's being
the heroic still triggers.
Oh, then maybe I get dirted out.
Yeah, when the heroic trigger goes on the stack when you cast the spell.
Dutch
again.
So I think I've played Scarhide once, and he was a piker, which is fine.
Okay, mission accomplished.
Haven't bestowed him yet. I'm waiting for the time when I bestow him onto like a worm coil and swing for lethal through it.
Oh my god, does he bestow for 3?
No, he bestows for 4, I think.
That's
I would
pretty good.
prefer if he bestowed for 3, but like the thing that I didn't realize is you can bestow him on your opponent's creatures, so they can't block.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple times.
So it's just like sometimes you just want to alpha strike through a wall or something. So I haven't gotten to make that play yet. Haven't bestowed him for extra power on a guy who has evasion or anything, but I'm sure it'll happen. But yeah, I think it'll probably work pretty well later on because I think he gets around. So like, there's a particular card I play. What is it called? Skittering Horror, I think. It's a 3/2 flyer for black. The caveat is when you play another creature, you sacrifice it. But that doesn't count for bestow creatures.
When you play another creature, you sacrifice Skittering Horror?
Yeah, Skittering Horror.
What's up, Paul?
It is a 4/3
Oh, no, it's
for
not.
3.
No, Skittering Scourge is the one.
No flying.
Sorry, Skittering Scourge is the one. I was close. I was so close.
So
yeah, that guy's like crazy aggro. It's a pre-flip Delver for 1 extra mana.
There
we go. That guy's pretty clutch.
2/3 for 2 flying, and when you cast this creature spell, sacrifice.
Also combos really well with Ether Vial. But the other card that I'm playing,
what's also nice is if you cast the Scarhide as the bestow and then it falls off, you still have not cast a creature spell. If it falls off something else.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of creatures that will probably be good with Ether Vial, Brain Maggot, because they printed that, which is a fixed version of like the
Mesmeric Fiend.
Fixed templating version of Mesmeric Fiend.
Yeah,
they're functionally the same card, but they changed it.
I think
when did they start that with?
Banisher Priest.
Yeah, Banisher Priest.
I think we talked about this. The trick with exiling something permanently. So Banisher Priest is sort of the stats are different, but it's a sort of a fixed Fiend Hunter, and they just printed Banishing Light, which is the fixed Oblivion Ring.
Yeah.
It basically means that you can't abuse the.
You can't shenanigans with
you can't abuse how the abilities interact with the stack and instant speed bounce to exile something forever, which you could also do with Mesmeric Fiend. So now it's just one single ability. So you exile the card for as long as Brain Maggot is on the battlefield.
Still really good.
It's still really good.
Yeah. I mean, just the temporary Thoughtseize is actually pretty great. Like it's not as amazing in some matchups, like against like mono red or something. You're always just taking the removal because otherwise they use the removal on him and they get their card back.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
now that you have Brain Maggot and Gnarled Scarhide, I don't know how many other enchantments you have in this deck. Probably not enough for this to be viable, but what do you think about Doomwake Giant for that deck?
What's that one?
So it's a 4/6 for 4 and a black. So it's a 4/6 for 5. Might not be aggressive enough, but it has the Constellation ability that whenever it or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, creatures your opponents control get -1/-1 until end of turn.
Oh, that would be sweet.
Because there's a lot of tiny utility creatures running around in Highlander.
Yeah, no, that would be sweet, but my enchantment package is so small, and like my 5-drop slot is Gary and Shriekmaw, and that's it.
And Shriekmaw, you're often not even casting as a 5-drop.
Yeah, no, Shriekmaw's dumb. That card's so good.
Shriekmaw's really
That's just
good.
like, are you playing black? Put in a Shriekmaw. I don't care.
Do it.
Just ram that right in. Sometimes you cast it for no value, and it's still like a 3/2 with fear.
All right.
So there was I asked on Twitter if there was any questions about Journey into Nyx that you guys thought that you thought we might be able to answer. That being the interesting caveat. Like someone's asking, like, what do you think is the most underrated card in the set? We at this point we have no idea. Like,
we're talking about home lines, right? Clockwork Steed.
No,
So
clearly.
This thing's a
You don't
bomb.
think this is super underrated? It's a 4/3 for 4.
I don't even know how it's rated. I don't even know if it's rated at all.
All right, what else we got?
All right, so this is I don't know if we have an answer to this, but is a pretty good question from Evil Badman. Why is there still not a legendary Minotaur?
That's a good question.
So there's one, but it's not from this set. It's from the first Commander set, and it's Zedru the Great-Hearted. She's actually a Minotaur, and the problem being that she's in the wrong colors.
Right, because he's like Bant or something?
Red, white, blue.
Oh, that's not one of those is Minotaur colors.
Yeah.
Because they've now put Minotaurs into black. So if you're looking to make a Minotaur Commander deck like I am, which I really should build,
You know what they need?
I would recommend you just use Mogus because he's super awesome and he is a Minotaur. He doesn't have the creature type Minotaur, but he's a Minotaur. But that's a good point. I don't know why that they didn't actually print a Minotaur, an actual legendary Minotaur creature in the set.
They should definitely make a Juntator.
Juntator.
Like that would be sweet.
But
It would be.
I would like to see in because they've said that Commander will now be a annual product.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Commander 2014. Maybe we see a Minotaur. Maybe we see. Is there a Centaur Lord?
Maybe.
Like to see a green-white Centaur legendary creature. Because there's some Centaur Lords in this set. There's the one that gives them all +1/+1 and trample and vigilance.
Yep.
Yeah. You know,
But he's not legendary.
just briefly, I don't actually play Commander, but I kind of like that they keep coming out with these sets because it gives them license to print all these goofball cards. that
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of filter down to our Highlander scene, and they have like really interesting effects.
I think
like,
it's great. I think it's awesome that they're using Commander and their other ancillary products like Conspiracy, for example, to print cards that
that are
they
just like,
know
"What?"
that they know won't be in Standard, or in the case of Commander that they know won't be drafted. So they don't have to worry about balancing them for Standard or for Limited, but can still make something that's legal in Legacy or Vintage or even Modern in some cases.
There are 3 legendary centaurs,
Really?
none of which are green-white.
Welp.
Oh, is the Ghost the
there's
Ghost Chief is
Carador Ghost Chieftain,
Oh, yeah.
he's black-white?
black, white, green.
Oy.
Oh,
There's
Doran.
Seton Croson Protector, who's just straight green.
What does he or she do?
He's a 2/2 for 3 green. Tap an untapped druid you control to add 1 green to your mana.
Nope.
No,
Moving
that's
on.
Terrible.
And there's Stonebrow Croson Hero.
Ooh,
Oh, that guy.
who's,
He's actually pretty good.
Green
isn't he?
red.
green red.
And 3 for a 4/4 trample. And whenever a creature you control with trample attacks, it gets +2/+2.
That seems pretty
That
good.
seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Most of the centaurs from Theros block are in. Well, most of them are in green, but there's also some in white. But I don't think there's any red centaurs in Theros
Not
block.
that I know
I
of,
could be
no.
wrong, but
I don't remember any.
I guess in the past they've been in red. So you could use the Ghost Chief,
Yeah.
and just not just have black as an added bonus value thing. But
Have
I
black
don't
for
know. I like
Doomblade.
to. I mean, I
You're
could
good to
have.
go.
I still could have. I still could use Doran as my tree folk commander, but
Yerp.
I like keeping the deck sort of thematically focused.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll print some new sort of Theros flavored Centaur and Minotaur legendary creatures. Is it still possible to draft the Chromanticore deck? Well, I don't know because we still never got the.
Yeah, we never really did it. Is it still possible? I mean, yes.
Anything's possible.
I mean,
anything's possible.
It's not going to be.
Christmas land.
Yeah, it's not going to be as good because you're already going to be one full pack in, right? You'll open a Chromanticore in your second pack, and you'll have just those two to probably flesh out 3 more colors. So good luck. It's going to be tricky, but it'll still work.
Well, I mean, 5-color Dirtle is always an archetype.
Yeah,
it's not good.
You're gonna have someone who's already in like 5-color value random whatever, and then they're gonna open a Chromanticore and they're gonna be able to do it. But I think if you're like, unless you're like pretty heavy green coming out of the Journey pack, I think you're gonna have a tough time sort of jumping ship into something that's able to resolve it without going kind of frantic.
That's true.
By the way, there is another Minotaur legend.
Like one other than Zedru.
Yeah. Tangarth, Talroom Hero.
Okay.
He is a 2. He's just straight red. 2 red and 3. He's a 4/4 vigilance, and 1 red and colorless. Tap him, and he deals damage equal to his power to target creature. And that creature deals damage to its power equal to him. So he fights somebody.
I'll fight you. I'll fight you IRL.
He's from Plane Shift.
Weird.
There's another set that prints some goofy cards.
Probably still going to use Mogus.
Oh, and he changed from creature Minotaur legend to legendary creature Minotaur warrior.
That makes sense. Alex, this is something you wanted to talk about.
Hi.
It's a question from Tokan. Now that all the gods are out, have been played with a bit, do you have any favorites? And you wanted to talk about
what
you want to talk about Keranos.
Oh man.
Or Keranos.
Well, I need to talk about my experience with Keranos.
Please do.
Because I have not played
tell us
with
the story.
him. I've gotten my teeth kicked in several times with him. That guy is a card. He is just like, we were a little skeptical of this guy. It's like, well, he's a 5-drop. It's like, you don't even care about making him a real boy. It's like every turn he bolts you, or you draw 2 cards.
Yep. He's
you
really
don't
strong.
like that's the end of the sentence.
I had him played against me in that draft that we did in Detroit, and
I mean,
it was really gross.
Yeah.
It's especially bad for me because I'm sitting on all this creature removal, and it's this enchantment that just sits there, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
It's just like
in Mono Black?
zap. I'm like, I'm dead.
Yeah,
I'm dead.
so dead.
I'm dead.
And
I'm dead.
like, even if I wasn't dead, my creatures would be dead. Also, you're getting card advantage. That guy's bonkers.
Yeah, I think Keranos seemed really, really good.
I think he's actually my favorite god now. Like, hands down, actually. I think he's my favorite, and I look forward to playing with him.
I want to know more about how Farika plays.
That's true.
I think
I've
she could
heard-
be really cool, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people are really salty about how the controller of the creature that you... the controller of the card that you... Or the owner of the card that you exile from the graveyard gets the snake enchantment. Or the enchantment creature snake. Which does feel a little odd, but she still seems good.
The Black-White God, I'm pretty pumped for.
Oh,
Athreos,
yeah.
Like, I don't have a deck that I can put him in currently, but
Athreos
man,
looks bonkers.
Yeah.
Athreos is sweet.
seriously, when I think about splashing white just for that guy, it's like, oh boy.
He's a 3-drop.
Oh,
He's a
so
3-drop.
good.
And he's cool, and the art is awesome.
All your
and everything about
decisions
that.
are awful.
Yeah. Everything about that card is sweet.
Yeah, and actually, you totally could splash white for that guy.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
probably not that difficultly. Like, you could just put in just all the black-white dual lands. Not all the black-white dual lands, but all the reasonable ones.
Yeah, I guess. I'd think about it. Like, I could
Reasonably
probably
priced
do
ones,
it if
I
I
mean.
wanted to, and I can actually pick up a Vindicate because they suddenly are cheap now.
Really?
And
Yeah,
it's
they're
a
down
sweet
to $15.
card.
Whoa.
I was like, maybe I should get one because blow up anything is a good card.
It's true. All right, what else we got?
How long until you guys attempt a mono Grim Guardian draft?
A what?
I want to try it. Oh, well, we have triple journey into Nyx. We got to try mono Grim Guardian.
Okay.
So Grim Guardian, he's a 1/4 for 2 and a black.
Yep.
Is that correct? Yeah. And he has Constellation. Whenever he or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you drain your opponent for 1.
Okay.
It is a drain, yes, or do they lose 1
It's
life?
just a life
Okay,
loss.
they just lose 1 life. So get as many of those as you can. Right, because you play 1, they lose a life. You play a second one, it triggers itself and the other one.
Yep.
They lose 2 life, and then you just chain it. You
And
just
then
chain
Just
it.
chain it and then start bestowing them and chain it and live the dream.
Exactly, it's
And
perfect.
they just don't have the removal or the counterspell.
Exactly.
They just never draw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never draw or play any
It's
spells.
just like, oh, look, I drew 17 land in a row.
Yeah, they keep a 7 land
What are
hand
the
and draw nothing but
chances?
land for. I mean, so yeah, they do defend well. They're 1/4.
True. Yeah, they'll hold down
This
the
weird
ground.
Sort of black control.
I am totally
game.
going to try that for triple for triple journey.
All right.
All right.
This is a good question from Logan. What do you guys think would have been a more even-handed white promo card than Dawnbringer Charioteers? Because
Like more fair?
yeah, we went off on kind of a tangent last episode, and rightly so, I feel, about the issues people were having with the white promo card, which is going to be relevant this weekend on Magic Online as well, because it's the same thing, right? You get to pick your promo, and it looks like everyone's picking white.
Well, it's just like everything's a sucker bet except white.
Like, so what rare, like, what are the white rare creatures?
Isn't there the
I should go get the
yeah? Isn't there
thing.
that? Isn't the other that giant that buries a creature or something?
No, he is uncommon. The Quarry Colossus.
Oh yeah, he's
Wow.
uncommon, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
Damn
it's
it.
got to be a rare.
Yeah,
right?
because they're all
Yeah,
rares.
they're all
They
rares.
like to be spicy and flashy. You know, it's possible there weren't any other good options, but
Get the Timmy
that
card.
doesn't seem right. 1 second. You keep talking.
We'll find out.
I'm trying to think of
I
unfortunately,
don't actually
need.
know any of the white cards from the set.
I can't think of any more of the white rares from the set. That's the problem. Luckily, we have a book, and the book will tell us what to do.
As soon as the book arrives, it's on its way. Here
We
comes
have
the book.
Oh, we actually
book
just
is
have the
here.
cards.
We don't actually have a book.
Oh,
but
we do have a complete set.
We
Which
do have
is,
the set.
Oh, there
I
they
can't
are.
read it from this distance.
All right, so the 6 white rares in the set
Here we
are
go. I've
There's
got
only
them.
6?
Aegis of the Gods, Dawnbringer Charioteers, a Deicide, Dictate of Heliod,
Of course.
Launch the Fleet, Sky. There literally is only
Wow.
one
There's
other.
One other creature,
Yeah,
and then
there's
one
no
other
other
creature
good
is
options.
terrible.
So
The
there's
Aegis of
there's-
Gods.
Yeah, so there's the Aegis of the Gods, the 2/1 for 1 to white. He's a piker. He's
and
an
you
enchanted
have
creature,
hexproof?
and you have hexproof.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
terrible.
it doesn't actually work. Yeah, the
Dawnbringer
Dawnbringer Charioteers
Charioteers.
is the only option.
Deicide, Dictate of Heliod. I could see it being like Launch the Fleet, maybe.
No, they would never do that, though. Not when everything else is a creature.
Yeah, it's got to be a
Skybind.
creature and it's got to be big and splashy.
Okay, so let's nerf the Dawnbringers. What do you do to make that card better?
Oh, what? Now we're redesigning the card?
Yeah. I mean,
Let me see.
I don't know. It's really good.
of course it's really good. It's too good. So let's get rid of...
The other cards are good too. They're just less efficient and slower.
Yeah.
Like you can't just like. I mean, okay, like so make it. Cast,
It doesn't have lifelink.
Okay, make it cast for 6 mana. Make
Honestly, if it didn't have lifelink.
it, right? Like make it 4 white, but then it's got to be better, right?
Not really. I would if this had everything on it and it was just 4 white, I would still play the hell out of this card. This card is super good. Like, yeah, I don't know.
You know, it's funny because I'm looking at the other cards, and I don't know. All right, so instead of Doomwake Giant for black, you could do maybe King Makar or
That guy-
or Master the Feast.
That's too much.
That's too much. Master the Feast is too much.
I think so. Like,
Also-
just giving them a 5/5 for 3 seems
That is
ridiculous.
another card that we've been trying to assess.
Which, King
well,
Makar?
No,
well, I've
the-
been trying to figure out King Makar.
no Master is super
Master?
good.
Okay,
Is
so
it?
so let's
Is it not?
let's try and bring the other colors up to Dawnbringer
Yeah.
Charioteer. So let's say King Makar.
No, let's say Master of the Feast. Then.
That's probably a little better, but all right. Red. Yeah, you know you're ruined.
Yeah,
like
you
red, you've
just-
got Bearer of the Heavens.
No.
or Eidolon of the Great Revel.
No.
That's the only other
Has to be
creatures.
the dragon.
In green, you've got Eidolon of Blossoms. You've got the Hydra Broodmaster.
The Hydra Broodmaster is like,
But I mean, Hero's Bane was probably the second best one of them.
yeah.
Or the Fairies Band War Chief,
No.
which is just sort of unexciting.
Yeah.
And then in blue, you don't have any good options either. You got the Battlefield Thaumaturge, Daring Thief, maybe Daring Thief, or Hypnotic Siren.
Yeah, these are all not very good.
All right, so in retrospect, now that we've actually in that context, I see why they made the choice they did. It was just unfortunate that it was frankly the only choice they had. If they wanted to do it like that, then it was the only choice they really had. So maybe then, as many people have posited, maybe then the problem is just doing it at all.
Yep.
Because you never used to play your promo card.
Well, no,
but to be fair, that also felt wrong.
Yeah, I don't like being able to play my promo card. I don't think
I do.
I think it's like
It felt weird when we first started playing Magic. It's like, here, you get this special card, but you can't play it.
It's like free worm coil. Don't put it in your deck.
I was okay with that. I don't know. I just I like
pretty awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I just I think I would just prefer to open up the 6-packs and just go.
Can you imagine how dumb the Scars block release would have been if every deck had a Worm Coil engine in it?
Maximum dumb? That card is so stupid.
It's colorless. Anybody could play it. Just everyone has a Worm Coil engine. That would be so stupid.
Cards that have not slumped in value.
Well, what if that was like? What if it was just the promo card is always an artifact?
Ugh.
So it's just like, it's like Godsend or something. Or no, Godsend.
Godsend is white.
I think it would depend on what the artifact was, because it's like worm coils, just battling worm coils all day. It's like,
no.
This format's terrible.
All right. Let's do one more good question here.
All right.
What do you got?
Let me think here. Sorry, there's so many questions. I'm just trying to think of what...
We'll do.
Actually, there's one quick sort of rules question. It might not be quick, but something I want to at least bring up. And then let's do that first. What happens when Keranos? Because we were talking about him. What happens with Keranos and miracles? So it's the miracle is if it's the first card you draw, then you reveal it.
Yeah.
Right. So you draw a miracle, you reveal the miracle, and choose whether or not you want to cast it. You also reveal it as a part of Keranos' ability, and you get your free lightning bolt.
Well, but you get Keranos' ability first, right? Because you flip the card. It's not a land.
I think they both trigger on draw. I think you can stack those triggers.
But you don't flip the card. You draw the card and look at it.
Hey, Paul, could you look up the reminders text for miracles? Because Keranos' ability is when you draw
Just
a
look for
card,
bonfire.
reveal it.
Is it when you draw a card?
Is that how Keranos' ability reads? 1 second.
It says, reveal the first card you draw on each of your turns.
Yeah, so you reveal it, you trigger him, and then you miracle it. Right?
But that's not a trigger. Just reveal the first card you draw is not actually a trigger.
So wait.
And miracle says, you may cast this card for its miracle cost when you draw it, if it is the first card you drew this turn.
It sounds like you get to do both.
Oh, well, you definitely did get to do both, but I'm curious if there's an order that happens, or if...
Well, like you miracle it first, and then you...
Yeah.
Keranos?
This is a question for the judge chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you get to eat your cake. All of it.
So,
and
all right.
Smash them with the plate.
So let's talk about this. I think this is one we could probably make a call on. What is the card you are least looking forward... Like, this is a card from Journey to Nyx. What's the card you are least looking forward to getting blown out by?
Oh.
Probably... Iroas.
That seems bad, yeah.
Yeah, like
you cast Iroas, slam with everything.
Yeah, like that's just gonna happen. Like,
I mean, all the gods.
Yeah, the gods. Well, for me, the gods are just harsh.
Like, I don't think Sage of Hours or I don't think Sage of Hours is really gonna work.
No.
Cetessan Tactics seems like it could be an awful blowout.
Yeah, Sage of Hours is another one of those sort of like goofball. It's like, hey, if you spend 400 years and all your resources, you get to take another turn. They never work. At least not the way you want it to.
Silence the Believers seems pretty bad.
that card's very good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like
I don't actually know. It's probably going to be... It's going to be like a common.
Actually,
right?
You know what card I'm worried about getting blown out by?
What?
By playing Master of the Feasts and having them blow me out by ripping a bunch of cards.
Yeah, drawing a bunch of really good cards.
I'm like, I can't decide whether or not I should play that guy. Like, a bunch of people have told me that it's like a harsh trap, and other people are like, no, it's so good. And I was like, I don't know.
I think that's a really hard call to make. I think you'll have to play with it.
It's
and find
tough.
Out.
I mean, Suey Black is all about sort of YOLOing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just today activated Tomb of Arami, and then he slammed a Jace, and I was like, well, I'm ruined. Tomb of Arami, of course, being it's a black, it's a land, it taps for black, and it will ping you for 1 if you don't control a ogre.
Okay.
It's from Kamigawa.
All right.
And then 2 black, tap it and sacrifice all your lands. Put a 5/5 flying demon token into play.
Wow.
So I'm like, ride the demon, end of turn. He untaps and goes like, Jace? And I'm like, well, I'm dead.
Weird.
GG.
All right. We're going to go and actually play on stream. So thank you guys for listening to another Tap Tap Concede. Hopefully we'll get to see you at LurkCon this weekend, and if not, some other time. And talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening.
Bye, guys.